You are standing in a crowded terminal when you see them. The world around you doesn't just fade, it completely recalibrates. Your pulse quickens, and your palms grow damp. The noise of the crowd turns into a distant, underwater hum. You believe you have finally found your soul's missing piece in a sea of strangers. In reality, you have just walked into a prehistoric trap. Your ancient software has detected a primary survival target. We call this falling in love. Biology calls it a sophisticated solution to a lethal, ancient logistics problem. To understand why your heart is pounding, we must look at the hidden architecture running behind your eyes. Modern humans are biological wonders, but we come into this world with a catastrophic design flaw. Our infants are the most vulnerable creatures on the planet. They are born half-baked and utterly helpless. A newborn gazelle can run within hours. A human child cannot even hold its own head up. This creates a crisis of labor. For our ancestors, one parent could not hunt while nursing a child. Without a second pair of hands, that child dies. If the child dies, the genetic line ends. So nature engineered a bribe. It created a chemical glue so powerful it could bind strangers together for years. You think that spark is spiritual. In truth, it is a biological contract signed in dopamine and desperation. Anthropologists have wondered why we are the only great apes that form these long-term pair bonds. While only 5% of mammals practice monogamy, humans leaned into it as a radical survival hack. Research from 2025 confirms that children with 2 invested parents had survival rates that skyrocketed. We are the descendants of the ones who stayed. We are the children of the biological bribe. This system of romance wasn't actually built from scratch today. Studies from 2024 propose that romantic love is just a recycled version of something older. Long before we learned to fall in love, we learned how to form selective friendships for safety. Deep peer bonding was the foundation. Evolution simply added a layer of high-voltage obsession. Your capacity for deep romance is just a specialized upgrade of your capacity for loyalty. It is a friendship with high stakes. A bond so tight, it feels like a physical weight. You think you're choosing them for their wit. Your biology is actually scanning for a co-pilot. It is looking for someone to help keep the fire burning through the winter. This is why the honeymoon phase feels so all-consuming. It has to be. It is a high-octane fuel designed to get a complicated machine off the ground. Without that initial madness, no rational person would agree to the sleepless nights and years of sacrifice. You are entering a state of temporary insanity sanctioned by your DNA. Your brain has shifted into a master mode of focus, prioritizing one face over the entire world. But what happens when that focus turns into a total neurochemical hijack? The same chemicals making you feel alive are about to turn your mind into a fortress. You see them as perfect, but that vision is a biological hallucination. You are experiencing a localized blindness so profound it can be measured on a medical scan. Your judgment is dissolving. Your critical thinking is being dismantled by the software meant to protect you. You feel in control, but the hijack has already begun. The ancient architect has taken the wheel, and as we will see, your brain is just getting started with the complete chemical takeover. Imagine your brain as a high-security vault under a silent breach. Usually, internal guards are at their posts, calculating risks and measuring consequences, but the moment you feel a spark, a chemical alarm is triggered in the basement. Deep in the midbrain, the ventral tegmental area prepares a massive payload. It is not sending a signal for peace. It is launching a biological offensive of dopamine. This is the same neural pathway hijacked by the world's most addictive narcotics. In fMRI scans, a brain in love looks identical to a brain on cocaine. The ancient architect doesn't want you rational, it wants you hooked. But the hijack goes deeper than a simple, pleasant rush. While dopamine spikes, another vital neurotransmitter is being drained from the system. Your serotonin levels begin to crater to levels seen in clinical obsessive-compulsive disorder. This is why you check your phone every 30 seconds. This is why their face becomes the only image your mind can process. You aren't being romantic. You are experiencing a feedback loop of intrusive thoughts. Your brain has created a state of mental instability to keep your focus locked. It gets stranger when we look at the internal security centers. As obsession deepens, the amygdala, your brain's fear radar, simply switches off. The alarms that warn you of social risk or danger are suddenly muted. Simultaneously, the prefrontal cortex begins to dim. This is the seat of your critical judgment and executive function. Usually, you would see the red flags and glaring flaws. But your biology has issued a gag order on your common sense. Oxytocin serves as a chemical blindfold, deactivating circuits meant to evaluate true character. We call this the honeymoon phase and treat it like a gift. Scientists call it a systematic dismantling of your critical faculties. You are seeing a customized hallucination crafted by your own hormones. This isn't a glitch. It is a necessary deception. If you were thinking clearly, you might realize the immense risk of attachment. The ancient architect cannot allow clarity during the courtship. It needs you reckless, impulsive, and momentarily blind. It is a biological bribe that forces you to ignore the exit signs. But as judgment shuts down, your brain runs a secret molecular scan. While you are lost in dopamine, your senses conduct an interrogation. You think you are falling for their smile or their laughter. In reality, you are hunting for a genetic signature hidden in their scent. Your immune systems are checking credentials before the deal is finalized. This is the major histocompatibility complex, or MHC, working in the shadows. Your brain wants a partner with an immune system opposite to your own. This ensures offspring have the strongest possible defense against disease. If the spark is missing, your biology has issued a rejection. It is a molecular mismatch that dopamine cannot fix. Your attraction is a survival strategy disguised as feeling, but the ancient software has hit a modern wall. We have plugged primitive hardware into a digital landscape. The ancient architect struggles to read signals through glass. The chemical hijack was built for physical proximity. Now, dopamine is weaponized by algorithms and endless choice. You are trapped in the search, never moving toward the bond. When dopamine runs dry, the biological price is staggering. Your brain will demand a transition modern life might not allow. If that fails, the ancient architect has a final brutal contingency. This contingency is written into the very marrow of your immune system. You believe you choose a partner based on personality. In reality, you are a biological sensor. You are hunting for a genetic signature known as the major histocompatibility complex. We are evolved to be attracted to the scent of those whose immune systems differ from our own genetic code. It is an ancient safeguard against inbreeding. It is a blueprint designed to give your future offspring a stronger shield. But you are currently looking at a glass rectangle. A digital screen cannot transmit a scent or reveal genetic harmony. You check every box on a dating profile: the height, the career, the shared interests. Then you meet in person. The spark is simply missing. Your brain is rejecting their MHC profile in real time. The architect has signaled failure. The digital world has promised a ghost. This is the first fracture. Now consider the crushing paradox of endless choice. 2025 research reveals that too many options keep our biology paralyzed. We are trapped in the search, never bonding. Dating apps are meticulously engineered to trigger dopamine rewards. They keep you addicted to the swipe rather than the person. You become a marathon runner who refuses to cross the finish line. The brain never receives the signal to settle. There is a ticking clock on your passion. Biologically, the dopamine-heavy attraction phase has a hard expiration date. After 18 to 36 months, chemical flood subsides. The honeymoon phase was never meant to be a permanent residence. It was a temporary construction site. To survive long-term, your brain must transition from dopamine to oxytocin and vasopressin. You must move from the thrill of novelty to the stability of endurance. If that transition fails, the relationship collapses. The drug wears off. You wake up next to a stranger you no longer recognize. You wonder where magic went. For some, the end of love is not just a psychological blow. It is a physical emergency that reshapes you. This is Takotsubo syndrome. You know it as a broken heart. It is not a metaphor. It is clinical reality. Under severe emotional trauma, the heart's left ventricle begins to fail. It weakens. It changes its very physical shape. It begins to resemble a narrow-necked Japanese octopus trap. It mimics a heart attack without presence of blocked arteries. Your body reacts to an absence as if it were a physical wound. The machine fails because the connection severed. While most cases occur in women, 2025 data is chilling. Men are twice as likely to die from this failure. For the male biology, romantic attachment is a physiological stabilizer. Without it, the internal systems can simply stop. This is the final reveal. Love was never designed for your fulfillment. It was never intended to make you happy. Love is a cold, calculated strategy for the continuation of humanity. It is the most successful survival mechanism in history. It keeps us together just long enough for the next generation to take root. We are vessels for ancient software. You see the architecture now, the chemicals, the genetic codes, the brutal physical consequences of loss. The game continues. The ancient architect does not care if you find a soulmate. It only cares that you exist. The truth is, focus. What you do with that knowledge is up to you. You see the game now. You will be deciding it awake. Subscribe to the Science of Attraction to understand the forces governing your life. We are revealing the hidden blueprint